The tipping at Starbucks has got to stop. I gladly press no tip. When I do not feel bad about it, you can't even make me feel bad about it, okay? Because I will tip other people. Waitresses, yes. People doing like side business, actually putting in effort. But I'm sorry, Starbucks workers, you do not deserve a tip. And I don't mean to be rude or mean about it. It is what it is, okay? Come at me, tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm mean, selfish, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I am not tipping you when I just waited like 15 minutes in the drive-thru, and two, you don't need a tip. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're doing your job, the job that you got hired for, and the job that you applied for. I worked at Loblaws, I worked retail in the mall, at stores. I never once thought I should be getting a tip. You know who needs a tip? People who physically work very hard, okay? Construction workers. My husband needs a goddamn tip at his job. But please take that option off the terminal. Thank you very much. No.
So she made a lot of good points. So I've been thinking about this recently, so I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible and say it as easy as possible and try to help as many people out because I kind of been struggling with this recently, but then I started thinking about it more and I'm trying to offer a solution for myself and also for others. So the way to not think about this too much and to, I think, do the right thing and how you should properly approach this is whatever you were doing tipping wise 8 to 10 years ago is how it should work right now. Right now it's out of control. Right now it's out of control. My wife and I go to Starbucks, we go to local coffee shops, there's a 7 Brew down the street. Uh, they with their iPad take your order, turn the iPad around and say like, hey, it's going to ask you a couple questions, it's going to ask if you want to leave a tip, and it becomes super awkward at that point. It really does. I don't know if it's just for me, but it becomes super awkward at that point because then in a way you kind of feel like the bad guy in some way, like, because I really don't like to deny people, like when it comes to like stuff like that, like they make you feel kind of guilty a little bit in a way, but you still got to like fight through it and still be like no. And I don't hit no on the tip because like she said, you're selfish, you're cheap or whatever the case may be. I genuinely hit no because I don't think that what you're doing is is good enough for a tip. You know what I mean? You're doing your job. You're doing your job. You're doing what you got hired to do and hired to pay for. Um, like she said, waiters, valets, even sometimes the maid that comes in for hotels. That one I didn't realize, but that one's kind of the new one that I've heard of. The maids at the hotels drop like a $1 or $5 bill, let them know that you appreciate, hey, thanks for cleaning the room and stuff like that. Like I said, people that actually come and serve you is who should be getting the tip. Like I said, the waiters, they're the ones bringing the food, they're the ones bringing the drinks, they're the ones waiting on you hand and foot, if that's the saying. Um, yeah, she makes a lot of good points here. Starbucks and these coffee shops, and even just other places, it's just getting like I go to Subway and they ask for a tip as well, to make the sandwich and everything like that. So, you feel bad for them in a way because it kind of sounds like there's two things going on. Either one, they're just adding the thing to see if you want a tip to maybe see if they can make extra money, or the sad part is that these companies aren't paying their employees enough money and then they're pushing it onto us, and that shouldn't be the case. The company should be paying the employees what they should be making and earning, you know what I mean? So don't push it onto us, if you push it onto us and get that pressure and everything. There's been times, guys, where, like I said, it gets to the point at coffee shops and everything where I tell my wife, like, hey, just stop at just stop at the ATM so I can grab some cash so I don't have to deal with this awkwardness, because they really do. Sometimes you just feel so awkward when it comes to this stuff. Like I said, you hit the no button and it's like there you just feel like an a-hole in a way, and you really shouldn't. Sometimes I don't, because I really genuinely in my head think like, hey, I really don't think you just taking my order is worthy of a tip. You know what I mean? I think you're just doing your job at that point. Um, the only exception that I do, because I have tipped extra before at coffee shops or other places, the only exception that I do, let's say for an example, at the coffee shop I visited maybe once, maybe twice a week or whatever, and I'll see the same person there, and they give me good service, they're friendly. I will tip them like $1 or two. You know what I mean? I will tip that person because I go there all the time. I see this person all the time. I'm trying to help them out. You know what I mean? So you're trying to let them know that, hey, I appreciate it. At Subway, I was going to Subway for during my lunchtime over the summertime, and there was this guy that I would get like the foot long, a cookie, and a drink, and it's supposed to be like $12, right? But I went there so much, and I talked to this guy so much that he like viewed me as his regular. He would give me like 50% off. He would give me like a foot long and all that stuff for like $6 to $7, and I would give him a tip. You know why? Because he was helping me out. He was going above and beyond to try to help me out, and I would tip him because of that service. So if you are in the tipping industry and you want a tip as well, you go the extra mile, go the extra way, and then I think you can get that tip. You know what I mean? But just taking somebody's order, I really don't think that that's like tip worthy. I think you're just doing your job at that point. So like I said, the easiest way to do this, guys, is, like I said, some of you guys might be young and you don't really remember how things were 10 years ago, but just think of what you were doing 10 years ago and just go by that rule method. Because it was basically the only thing that I remember tipping 10, 15 years ago was just waiters. That was it. There was no Starbucks, no. Um, haircuts, yes. Haircuts, yes. Tip your barber. Barbers and sit down restaurants were really the only thing that I could remember. Maybe I'm blanking, but really the only thing I can remember that I actually like tipped somebody for. Restaurants like McDonald's, Subway, Burger King, coffee shops. No, they never asked for that. They never asked for a tip. They never did that. So if you are a company and you are passing the thing onto us, I think you need to look at your guys' self and realize that, hey, like, you might actually be scaring away customers, you know, in a way. It might be kind of silly, but you might be actually scaring away. Like I said, I tell my wife, stop at the ATM and grab some cash so I could just pay with cash and not have to deal with it. They don't ask for the tipping when you pay with cash. Why is that? Because there's no option for it. You don't pay with cash and they throw the iPad at you. No, it's only when you pay with your card. So why don't they ask when you pay with cash? They could probably do the same thing. Do you think it's a coincidence? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I just think that, hey, you pay with the cash and then you just move about your day. So, but yeah, I've been doing that lately. So, but yeah, like I said, some of these places that, for like the blue collar workers, the ones that work really hard, man, we get you know, we get appreciated, but man, sometimes it's like, you would think you would tip those guys more. Those are the guys that are busting their butt, you know what I mean? Those are the guys that are out there on their feet 8 to 10 hours a day. They're doing super hard labor work, and those are the guys that it's like, we still probably won't accept a tip or whatever like that, just because, hey, we're doing our job. This is what we signed up for. This is what we went to the interview and we said yes to it. So, like I said, it's just like the people that are out there working, grinding, working their butt offs and stuff. Sometimes it's like, hey, we get paid less, compared to like the person that's sitting on the computer all day working from home. You know what I mean? So And it is what it is. It is what it is. But in a way, you can't tell me. In a way, sometimes, man, you might have some mental stress, but sometimes, man, you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that you're working harder than some of these guys out here in construction or delivering packages or even in warehouses and stuff like that, where you're literally doing some really hard labor. I don't know if you can convince me. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe you'll have some mental days or whatever where things can give you a headache, but I have a hard time. But you can't tell me that you're working harder than the guys that are mentally exhausted and physically exhausted as well. So, um, but anyway, just I don't know. Like I said, blue collar guys, we could get the tip, we could get a tip and stuff like that. But I think that you know I know first off, I don't think that we'll accept it, or we'll just be like or our bosses will just say, hey, like we won't accept that. That's just your job, and just that's your job, and just deal with it. If someone brings you like a Coke or something to eat or whatever, take it. And just be appreciative of that. So I don't know. It's kind of a hard topic to talk about a little bit, but hey, that's just kind of how it is. So, but yeah, she made a lot of good points. So like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel to see more videos in the future. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.